We have enjoyed these interesting speeches, and now we have someone who will guide us on how to conclude speeches. DTM Suresh Gunathilaka, who is a member of Emirates Toastmasters Club since the last 10 years and one of our club champions who finished his DTM. He is in the business of providing peace of mind for others, but not for himself, as these days insurance is not as easy task. A loving father for three kids and a family man. Let's welcome DTM Suresh to guide us on this very important topic. Over to you, DTM Suresh.
Thank you, Amir, for that introduction. Hope everyone is doing well today. Yeah? Great. Let me try to share my screen. Yeah. Okay. Can you see this? Yeah?
Yes, yes, we can
Yes,
see.
How
many
many of you
animals
watch Game of Thrones?
watched.
Yeah. So this is a meme about the Game of Thrones, the season 1 and to 4, it's even 5, halfway through, it's perfect. It's some will say on lit actually, because this is a meme. And then towards the end, I mean, everybody was disappointed how it got over, So sometimes a speech also can be like this. You can start with a bang, and the body can be great. You have good structure, good content, but suddenly you may end it like incomplete. Sometimes, like some people I have seen saying, "Thank you, have a good evening," or some will say, "Thank you for listening to me," or will say, "Great to have you all here." Some people will end it without proper message. But you have done everything well, but end is bad. Like the Game of Thrones serial. If you are not watch, I think it's too bad. Try to watch it. 10 seasons. This is a education session that coming from speaker series. The presentations, the content itself given by Toastmasters. These have been done to clubs to ensure that the speakers try to follow certain guidelines. So I am actually going through the presentation given by them. I have changed based on mine, but just for you to get an idea what we do on Toastmasters. Yeah. See, sometimes the conclusion, like I mentioned, can suddenly be ending, like you are doing a speech, suddenly it end. So it gives a little bit of a salty feeling to all the Toastmasters. So it's always good for you to prepare your listeners that I'm coming to my end, like to say in conclusion. Well, let me end by saying, or maybe in summary, you can prepare the audience that you are coming to your end of your speech, so they know that this is the end. Then sometimes you need to end with a big bang, create that impact, the people to feel, wow, what a speech, because the end is the one that will remain in the mind of the listeners. Not the beginning, not the middle, but the end, how you finish your speech. If I can quote, like in one of my speeches, what I did was I was talking about dancing. So towards the end, I got everybody to stand up and to do few steps of the dancing. So I can remember many people were quoting about that speech. Even after many years, I can remember your dancing speech because they were involved in my speech. So this is how you need to ensure that your audience will feel something. You should allow them to absorb what you have been telling. So that is the impact that we are talking about. Next, it should be crisp. Your end cannot go for 2-3 minutes because end should be ideally about 10% of your speech. Now, if you, for example, if you are doing a 10-minute speech, it should be a 1-minute ending. So it should be that crisp, because that will be, if you've done a proper crispy ending, people will say, you're on fleek, right? You're a professional speaker. Yeah, I will give you 6 techniques how to be a what you call a fleek speaker, how to become a fleek speaker. These techniques can be, you can end with a good quotation. Today, I felt all the 3 speakers had their quotations when they end their speeches. Abhinay, can you tell your end? What is your quote you used at the end?
Yeah, I used you get if you cannot go back and start from the beginning, but if you start now, you can change the ending.
Exactly. So how powerful was that? Can Swati say about your ending? What is your quote?
My ending and my beginning has been same. That's the title, Quest for Life Till I Am Alive. It is inspirational.
Exactly. How inspirational was that? Then Anil, you also had a quote at the end.
Yes, I'm still continuing my journey while knowing the known.
Exactly. You were talking about unlearn the learning and relearn.
Yes, yes, of course. That is an
Practice your
extensive part.
exactly. So sometimes some people can be Gucci by using a poem as well. So what will happen when you use a quote or a poem? People feel that you add authority to your speech, or you can amuse your listener and maybe create a little bit of drama. So that is one technique that you can use. The second technique will be storytelling. You can end with a beautiful story that narrate the entire speech idea and get to a moral that people will understand and will emphasize what you are talking in your speech. So like it can be a story about yourself or your squad. Anything that anecdote that relates to you can actually create an advantage of your speech. It can develop quickly, make it short, and reinforce your message. Sometimes you can start by saying, I was a poor speaker. I couldn't speak. I couldn't face. But after doing Toastmasters, I was able to be this speaker and I won this competition. You can end with such a story, an inspirational story. This is the second technique. Third, you can call for action. This is another way of actually giving that impact. I can remember in one of the speeches, still I can remember, Alvin was talking about how important to adopt a child. And he was encouraging everybody, if you can, try to adopt a child and change their life. See, still I can remember that speech. I would say this speech was 10 years ago. He called for action. So I can remember in one of my speeches, I gave everybody a smiley face for them to take home and to make another person's life better by giving that and telling how good they are. So I asked for a call for action. So this is something that you can take home to tell, like, for example, Anil can tell, you can be a better Toastmaster by doing A, B, C. So that's sort of a call for action. This is the third technique, I would say. The fourth can be a rhetorical question. You can ask a rhetorical question. Now, for example, we all are in this situation about COVID and the people are losing jobs and the situation is not so cool. So what you can tell, are we going to be in this situation? Aren't we going to take action? We can take action. You can ask a question. People start thinking, what can I do? What should I do? How I am going to change my life? So this type of like people like food for thought, you say. So if you can have that sort of a situation at the end, that also can create that impact that you're looking for your speech.
Something went wrong. Try again in a few seconds.
Sorry, that is my Google Play. Yeah. So then another technique can be, you can actually connect your beginning. Like, for example, how Swati did. She connected for the first chord to the end and you can look back. So people will connect you well because you have spoken your beginning and you come to your end. So that is another good technique to use when you are speaking in a forum. Yeah. Even I felt Abhinav also did it very well. He talked about his beginning, how his life started and how successful he has become when he was ending, before he caught his quotation. Yeah, next one, the closing technique can be like summarizing your main key points. You can give a repetition of your point that you did, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. These are the things that you learned today. This is how you can reduce food wastage, A, B, C. You know, you can bring it back and summarize it again. Like, I can remember one person, although it's not about summary, but he actually kept on bringing the same message again and again until the end. He was one of our champion Gucci speak, I would say. Like he had talking about the timing. He was saying tick tock, tick tock. Beginning he said the same. Middle also he said a few times, and the end he end like tick tock, tick tock. This is how we end. So actually that gives you a some sort of memory. Okay, that was the speech about tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Yeah. So I would say some tips. These are 6 points that I explained to you, the techniques that you have. And you can be a fleek speaker by remembering your end very well. You have to memorize your speech. Because if you don't do that, you can fumble, like you will not be able to explain like I'm doing, you know, I cannot speak at a stretch smoothly. But then if you can remember your speech, the end should be remembered in your memory without even trying to think at that moment. I felt all the 3 speakers today remembered what they were going to speak at the end. They had their quotes ready. Then the next one will be, remember the time. You need to end your speech on the correct time. Because when your audience know that you are going to do a 7-minute speech, and if you try to speak for 10 minutes, because your end might be beautiful, nicely narrated, a beautiful quotation or a poem, but if you take more than the allotted time, people will start getting bored. They will feel boring. What is this speaker taking so much of time? So you will drag your speech to ensure that, I mean, they will lost at the end. So please ensure that the timing is practiced. So it's very important. Don't go beyond your time. So sometimes another thing that people will do, while they were doing their ending, they will remember suddenly a point that they missed. The point can be some important point, but don't bring this to the end because you're going to lose. Only you know that your end or you missed that particular point, but you don't have to bring it back. So you don't try to fit it at your end to say, I forgot that I had to tell this part. So better finish it at the end. So that is the conclusion of my speech. Aha, that is not the way that you end your speech, right? Not do an abrupt speech end. So what you should do, you should summarize, like I said. So what did we learn today? Can someone tell me the 6 techniques I taught you all? Who is brave enough to talk about the 6 techniques? Anyone? At least
Close
one.
with a quote.
Use a quote. Yes. 1. Second,
Storytelling.
storytelling. Third, anyone?
Wrap it back to the end, to the beginning. End to
Yes, good one. 4, 5.
Ask the questions.
Yes, rhetorical question can be asked.
Connect to your beginning. Summarize main points.
Yeah, that's
Summarizing
exactly what Jerry
points.
said.
Yeah.
And call for action. That's
Yes.
6 point. Yeah. So we spoke about achieving a sense of closure. I mean, to be a better speak, you know, an audience should know at the end, this is the end. Then make that impact and take 5 to 10 minutes, a crisp ending, right? And you need to memorize your ending, end on time, and refrain from adding any new points, right? So in conclusion, would like to end my speech with a quote. Great is the art of beginning, but greater is the art of ending. Like Dhoni in this career. All the best. Wassalam and good evening. Anyone wants to have any questions?